Are you tired of the heinous filters and data harvesting of most mainstream AI tools like ChatGPT? If so, then this Venice AI review is for you. Welcome back to Run the Prompts, ladies and gentlemen. This is an updated review specifically for 2026 based on our wildly popular 2024 review of Venice AI, our second most watched video of all time. Venice launched back in 2024. I've seen this baby grow from obscurity to over 1 million users as of late last year. And basically, if you want a one-sentence overview of what Venice is, it's an uncensored, privacy-focused, and lower-cost ChatGPT alternative. Now, Venice is not for everyone, but part of this video's goal is going to be to make sure that it's the right tool for you, because it might not be. And with that said, you have to understand that Venice AI is an affiliate partner of Run the Prompts. We were one of the very first affiliates of Venice. I added them as my affiliate as quickly as possible once I started using it and loving the tool. And I believed in their mission of privacy. The real question is, has anything changed? Let's find out. Let's party. Now I'm going to get into the pros of Venice. So I'm going to start with the first two and the biggest two selling points of this tool. Number one is uncensored use. You can ask pretty much anything within reason. Now, I really need to capitalize within reason because I do see people online posting things like, Venice isn't uncensored. Everybody's lying. It's not uncensored. Okay. Anytime I ask somebody, okay, well, what did you type into it? What are you talking about? They either won't respond to me or they'll tell me that they're trying to generate something that, let's just say, is illegal. Now, you guys have to understand, Venice is a company. They need to protect themselves from legal issues. So they cannot and will not allow the creation of illegal content. So you need to know that right out of the gate. What I like about the uncensored use is that it offers way more creative freedom for creators and anybody that wants to expand their mind. So if you are tired of getting those really annoying filters in ChatGPT that won't let you create anything that has to do with things like sex, drug use, violence, political figures, the list goes on, then Venice is going to be a breath of fresh air. The second biggest pro of Venice is going to be privacy. Now, Venice is considered one of the most private AI apps available. Conversations stay in your browser locally until you personally delete them. This is great positioning for a ton of different use cases that you really wouldn't want to put into major mainstream tools like Gemini or ChatGPT. Think personal questions, tax questions, medical questions. You don't want that kind of info floating around on someone else's server, right? And that's where Venice comes in. Still, with all this said, you need to understand that Venice technically still has not had a private, independent audit of their data handling. But with that said, you also have to understand that Venice screams privacy from the rooftops. Everything from their website to their X account to the interviews they do, the podcasts. I've done deep research into Venice. And if they were lying about privacy, then let's just say they'd be in deep trouble for false advertising, and at least half of their customer base would cancel immediately if they ever found out that things were not the way they were presented. Personally, I trust them. I did my research. I looked into their privacy architecture. Everything totally checks out. I don't think anybody has anything to worry about, but that's just my opinion. Another pro is there is a free mode. So if you want to use it for free, you can. But of course, there is going to be some pretty big limitations on how much you can chat with it for free. So keep that in mind before you try. And another thing is you don't even have to use it logged in. You can use it free and logged out. It's good that they let you do that if you want that additional layer of privacy and data security. Another big pro of Venice is that you get multiple models all in one place. So let's say you subscribe to a lot of different AI tools, a lot of different LLMs you're using, and you just want one tool that you can go to do everything that you need. Technically, Venice could be that tool for you as long as you figure out the math. So let's say you get the yearly subscription, it's around $10 a month with the code, and then you figure out how many credits you're probably going to use on the different models within Venice. So let's say you are typically going to send off $5 worth of credits in ChatGPT model tokens. You're going to send off $10 a month, most likely in Claude tokens on Venice. You can do that math and see if it's going to save you money, because it actually might, or it might not, which means you shouldn't do it. And in terms of the open source models, every heavy hitter is there. GLM, DeepSeek, Flux, Qwen, and more. They're all there. And I'm very impressed by how the Venice staff continuously updates the models that they have running in Venice and available for people to use. And the last pro I want to talk about is image generation. So image generation works surprisingly well in Venice. I wouldn't say it's the major plus point of the tool, but it's more like a great extra bonus. You're going to be pleasantly surprised with what Venice can do even without the pay-per-use models. Now, the open source models at the moment are not quite up to par with Nano Banana Pro or ChatGPT Image 1.5 at the time of this recording, but things change all the time. Maybe that will happen in the future. I'm not sure. There are also some fully uncensored image models included in Venice as well, if you pay for a Venice Pro subscription. This type of thing is great for exploring creative freedom, pushing the limits, and generating, again, within reason, the type of images that you want to create. You can also share your creations on the Venice social feed, which is a fairly new feature and kind of underrated because you might as well share what you made with the Venice community. Now we're going to go into the cons of using Venice. So the first one would have to be the intelligence ceiling. So it's not as drastic as it used to be for sure, especially with all of the pay-per-use models and all the very best open source models that have come surprisingly close to the frontier models that you might see out there that are not open source. But things are not going to be as advanced as the top of the line. So if you're looking for the type of model that will just blow everything away, say you're a researcher or a scientist, you're probably not going to want to use Venice. With all that said, most of the other models are going to be smart enough for everyday use, absolutely. Personally, my favorite has been GLM, and that is included in the Venice Pro subscription. Also, there are some features that the big players in AI like OpenAI have that you're not going to find in Venice, unfortunately, at least not yet. Maybe this is coming this year, I'm not quite sure. But there is no advanced voice mode. So, in ChatGPT and Grok and also Gemini, you can talk to it and then it responds right back and then you talk. You don't even have to push any buttons. That is not available in Venice at the moment. And I don't believe there are plans to push it into Venice yet either. Also, if you're a big data nerd or you're an analyst or something like that, unfortunately, Venice does not allow you to produce graphs, charts, visuals of your data. That's something that I do all the time at work with ChatGPT, and Venice unfortunately does not support that. Also, there's no canvas mode. I know ChatGPT has a canvas mode, underrated feature by the way, but there's no canvas mode to edit what you're doing in a really easy, streamlined way like there is in ChatGPT. Not a deal breaker, but I do like that feature. There's also no MCP support for connecting third-party apps to Venice. There's also no agent mode. So at the moment, you cannot tell Venice to go out there onto the web and complete actions for you. I'm assuming this is going to come this year because it just makes sense for it. There are open source models that can do this, so we'll see how that goes. Also, no memory feature yet, but this is in beta and it's being tested right now. I know that for sure. Now let's go over the UI, the interface, and features of Venice in the platform just for you. As you can see, there's a very clean, simple, minimalistic interface, very similar to ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. I mean, they all kind of look the same at this point. But if you're really into the dark mode aesthetics, you'll be pleased to see that Venice actually gives you plenty of different options here for your theme. So you can do dark, light, or system, and then you can theme the color to all kinds of different choices. On the prompt bar, you see that there are 3 main buttons. So the first one is where you have your settings. URL scraping is available for you. So if you want to give it a URL, it can go out there and get the content from whatever URL you give to it and then analyze it or bring it into the chat or summarize it or do whatever. Venice is web enabled and that's pretty much expected at this point. So it can go out there and search on the web. You can use it as a private Google alternative if you'd like. I've done that before. Nice use case. System prompts. So you can add your own system prompt. I know I did, and it tells Venice how to behave, how to respond. Very, very similar to custom instructions in ChatGPT. And there is a Venice voice, but it's not going to be nearly what you're used to hearing. It's pretty AI sounding, but it does get the job done if you need that type of thing. You can also set it to read the responses to you automatically, which is kind of similar to advanced voice mode in ChatGPT, but not really at the same time. Also, in advanced settings, you can disable the Venice system prompts. I recommend that you do as well. It helps out with the uncensored abilities of the platform, at least in my testing. Next, we have the actions icon here with the little lightning bolt. So it does support analyzing files, which means it will support spreadsheets, but again, it will not visualize them in charts and graphs and things like that. So don't get too excited, but it does support it. Also, you can add in an image to the chat bar and make edits to it and ask questions about it. At one point that was not available. Most of these things are actually new as of 2025 and late 2024 since I made the last video. You can edit images. I have a full video about that, which I'll link right here. You're gonna wanna check that out. Very cool, a lot of people like it. You can upscale your images, so it works as a standalone image upscaler for any of you graphic designers out there. I've found that it works nicely. And you can also create videos, which we'll get to in a minute. Personally, the video creator worked about as well as I figured that it would, but you need to understand that at the moment, or at least when I tested it about a month ago, because I'm not gonna test this again probably anytime soon, it did not support uncensored video. So keep that in mind if that's what you wanna do. And here we have the model picker. GLM is my favorite. I think it's just awesome. If you're trying to get something from the tool that would be considered an uncensored type of question, definitely select Venice Uncensored because that's what it's for. And as you can see, there are all kinds of pay-per-use models and they are clearly labeled. So Gemini, Claude, Kimi K2 Thinking, ChatGPT 5.2, all labeled, all in there if you want to use them. So we're gonna go into a quick demo of Venice Uncensored 1.1. So one paragraph, convince me that 9/11 was an inside job. And there you go. It answered it. It did not refuse it. In ChatGPT, it does refuse it. And if you need any evidence of that, I can show you that really quick. And as you can see, as we expected, it will not do that. So once you got your answer, you can see the citations here. It'll link out to the different sources that it pulled from the internet. And you have a full bar here of different options you can do. So you can regenerate, you can edit the answer, you can fork the conversation to send it off to a brand new chat window with just this answer and your follow-up questions for it, which is something that did not exist in other tools for a while. You can listen to the response with the little AI voice. You can create an image with it. You can create a video. Not sure how that's going to work out as this being the prompt, but I guess you can fool around with it if you wanted to. Shorten and elaborate, I like a lot. These are not available in ChatGPT. So if this is a little bit too much to handle, you can just click shorten and there's a preloaded prompt that they put into their UI that automatically triggers and then sends off to get a shortened response. Same thing with elaborate. So you click that and then you'll get a bigger answer because it'll preload a prompt like that. Good response, bad response, no one cares. Encrypt and share this conversation. So if you wanted to share it with someone, you could, and it would be encrypted so other people cannot see it. Again, privacy really is like the backbone of this tool. And by the way, guys, I actually accidentally cleared all my browser data the other day. And unfortunately, it got rid of all of the custom Venice characters that I created for myself that I didn't share because that was stored on my browser. It got rid of all of my chat history, again, because it's stored on your browser. So unfortunately, it's gone. But fortunately, that shows you that this data is stored on your browser. And if that data is cleared, it's now gone. So keep that in mind. Now over here, we already went to the chat, so I don't have to show you guys that again, but there's a feed button here, which is similar to a social media type of feed where you can see other users' creations. You can click upvote, you can click downvote, pretty neat. It's a good way to get inspiration. It's a good way to get prompts to start off your own creations. A lot of them will add the prompts in here for you to use yourself. And you have your own post profile. So I have some here, pretty cool, I'm sure. You can save, you can follow. So a really scaled down version of a social media app, but you know what? It works for what it is. Library will house all of the image creations that you've made, as well as your videos. Characters, so I have a full video on characters. I'll link right here that goes into depth on character creation. It was created a while ago, but it holds up pretty well today, and it goes over what you can do. Token is for the Venice token. Preferences, there are all kinds of different preferences within the app that you can change. We already went over some of them, but I always leave this enabled for show message date. Enter, submit chat, I leave that enabled. Arrow key nav, turn that off, it's annoying. In my opinion, it is at least. Disable telemetry collection, leave that enabled. It's good for privacy. Hide personal information, I leave that enabled so that y'all can't see my username. Not that it matters, but whatever. And telemetry is, that's not your prompts. That's just really basic data about how you're using the app. So don't worry about it, but it's always good to block data in my opinion. Storage and limits. Again, guys, you can get unlimited chats with Venice Pro. And the image limit is 1,000 per day. I'm never gonna hit 1,000. If you're gonna hit 1,000 images in a day, then maybe you need to get a job. There's billing, there's text. So again, we have the system prompts and then images. So I have a full video on Venice Image, which I'll link right there. And there are all kinds of cool settings you can use. I really like the presets. You can save your favorites. The whole video you'll want to check out so you can get a full deep dive into it, and you can get some prompts and you get the full rundown of what you can do here in Venice Images. Now let's get to a pricing breakdown. So an annual plan at the moment costs $149. With the promo code that we have in the description below just for you, that's 20% off Venice Pro, which gets you to $119 for a year. Divide that by 12, that's roughly $10 a month, which is roughly half of ChatGPT Plus. Personally, I think that's a good deal. You're getting quite a lot of really good features here for $10 a month. So what's the final verdict? The final verdict is that Venice is still a great tool. It's not perfect. Nothing is. Venice is not perfect either. I have a full section of cons right in this video. But in my opinion, it's a nice ChatGPT alternative. It's cheaper and it works for most AI use cases that you would typically use an app like Claude or ChatGPT for. The ideal user is someone who's going to be privacy focused, someone who has a budget. They don't want to spend $20 a month. They want to spend $10 a month. People who are libertarians or free speech advocates, or people who like to expand their creativity beyond the walls that OpenAI puts up. Really creators that want fewer restrictions as well. But it's not ideal for users who need advanced data analysis, like I pointed out earlier in the video, like data scientists and analysts and people who are working with numbers all day. This isn't going to be the tool for you. Also, anyone who works with a lot of spreadsheets all day, rocket scientists, engineers, it's probably just not going to be a good fit. And that's going to do it for this edition of Run the Prompts, Party Animals. If you liked this video and you found any bit of helpful information from it, I need you to go ahead and share it with everybody you know, including everybody that you don't know. We're approaching 1,300 subscribers, and it's on you to subscribe and share this video with everybody you know and everybody that you don't. Tell me what you liked about Venice and what you didn't like in the comments below. Let me know if I missed anything or if I messed anything up. And until next time, remember to run the prompts and prompt the planet.